My dear friends, in this restless world where so many search for affection, attention, and affirmation, it is no wonder that love has become misunderstood, distorted even. We chase love as if it were a commodity, a fleeting feeling, a transaction of emotions. But love is not something we find like a coin in the street. It is something we become worthy of by becoming more human and more divine. If you are searching for love, real, abiding, soul, elevating love, then you must first clear the path. And so today, I give you 5 things to stop doing if you wish to truly find love as God intended it. We live in an age that glorifies instant gratification. Everywhere we turn, we are offered substitute, temporary pleasures to numb eternal longings. Social media, shallow relationships, material indulgence, fleeting romance, all promise us happiness, but they only leave us emptier than before. Pleasure, my friends, is not inherently wrong. God Himself gave us the capacity to enjoy beauty, affection, and delight. But pleasure, when divorced from purpose, becomes a tyrant. It takes, but never gives back. It inflames desire, but offers no fulfillment. You see, love cannot grow in a heart addicted to momentary thrills. It demands commitment, sacrifice, patience, all things that the culture of pleasure tries to avoid. When we chase excitement rather than depth, we run in circles, mistaking motion for meaning. Love, true love, is not about how someone makes you feel for a night. It's about what you build with someone for a lifetime. It's not fireworks, it's foundation. It's not a spark that flares and dies. It's a flame that is carefully tended, even on dark days. There are so many who wander from one relationship to another, asking, "Why can't I find love?" The answer, often, is that they are not truly seeking love. They are seeking escape. They want someone to take away the loneliness, the boredom, the fear of insignificance. But love is not an escape, it is a mission, and if your heart is not grounded in purpose, no amount of pleasure will ever fill it. When you begin to live with intention, when your life is pointed towards something higher than yourself, you will attract others who are doing the same. Purpose draws purpose, meaning recognizes meaning, and love, my dear friends, flourishes where the soul has found its reason for being. Stop asking, "Who will love me?" and begin asking, "What was I made for?" Because when you begin to live for something greater than yourself, love will not have to be chased. It will come, not because you begged for it, but because you became ready for it. That is the secret. The soul that lives for purpose will never be starved for love. We live in a world that rewards performance. From the time we are young, we are taught to behave to impress, to present ourselves in ways that are acceptable, attractive, and appealing. Social media has only magnified this impulse. Now we curate images of our lives, our personalities, our very selves, crafting a version of reality that hides more than it reveals. But here's the tragedy. You cannot be truly loved if you are never truly known. And you cannot be known if you are always pretending. Many walk into relationships wearing masks. Some wear the mask of confidence to hide insecurity. Others wear the mask of independence to conceal a deep longing to be needed. Some wear humor to hide their pain. Others use charm to disguise their fear of rejection. But every mask creates distance. Every layer of pretense keeps love at bay. You might attract people with the image you present, but you will only be loved to the extent that you are authentic. You see, love, real love, is not a response to perfection. It is a response to truth. A person may admire your strengths, but they will love your vulnerability. They may be impressed by your talents, but they will feel closest to you when they see your wounds, your struggles, your heart. When you hide behind a role, a personality, an identity that is not fully you, the love you receive will always feel hollow, because deep down you will know they are loving a mask, not the person behind it. And perhaps that's what scares us most. What if we remove the mask and are met with silence? What if we show who we really are and find rejection instead of embrace? That is the risk of love, but it is also its glory. Because only in that raw, sacred space of being fully seen can we ever be fully loved. Love that is built on performance must always be maintained. Love that is built on truth can finally rest, and let us not forget this. God does not love the image you present to the world. He loves you, the unedited, unfiltered, unseen you, the one behind the achievements, the one behind the insecurities, the one who cries when no one is watching. When we dare to take off our masks before others, we mirror the vulnerability that Christ himself showed when he stretched out his arms on the cross, exposed, vulnerable, and completely given. If you are longing for love, begin by showing who you truly are. Speak with honesty, even when your voice trembles. Share your story, even if it's imperfect. Let someone see your soul, not the painted version, but the real one. Because only when you stop hiding will you finally be found, not by everyone, but by the one who was always meant to love you as you are. One of the most silent, yet most dangerous errors we make in the pursuit of love is this. We take another human being, flawed and finite, and we place them on a throne only God should occupy. We may not say it aloud, but deep within, we look to them for our security, our identity, even our salvation. We convince ourselves that if only this person loves me, I will finally be enough. If they choose me, I will finally feel whole. But to make a God out of a person is to demand from them what they can never truly give, and to doom both them and ourselves to inevitable disappointment. No human being was designed to carry the full weight of your soul. Even the most loving partner, the most faithful friend, the most devoted companion, none of them can bear the responsibility of your completeness. They are, like you, broken in places, fragile in ways they may not show, limited by time, by weakness, by emotion, by fear. To turn them into a savior is to set them up for failure, and to set yourself up for heartbreak. You will know you are making someone your God when their presence gives you peace, but their absence brings you panic. When their approval determines your worth, and their opinion shapes your very sense of identity, you begin to orbit their life, bending your will to keep them happy, even when it costs you your dignity, your values, your peace. And the more you do it, the more enslaved you become, not to love, but to fear. Fear of losing them, fear of not being enough, fear that without them you are nothing. But love, true love, was never meant to enslave. It was meant to set free. When God is at the center, love flourishes in freedom. It does not cling. It does not beg. It does not worship at the feet of another soul. It gives freely and receives without demand. It knows where it ends and where the other begins. When we remove God from the center of our hearts, we do not become godless. We simply put someone else in his place. And no matter how beautiful that person may be, they will never satisfy the ache that was meant to be filled by the divine. You may adore them, but they cannot redeem you. You may walk with them, but they cannot carry you across the chasms in your soul. You may love them deeply, but they are not your source of life. Only God can love you with a perfect, unwavering, unconditional love. Only God knows every inch of your soul and still calls you beloved. When He is first, everything else finds its proper place. You no longer demand that a person be your everything. You allow them to be simply who they are, a fellow traveler, a gift, not a God. So if you are waiting for someone to complete you, stop. If you are exhausting yourself trying to earn someone's approval, stop. If you are afraid that losing a person means losing yourself, it's time to step back. You are not created to worship man, You were created to walk with God, and when you walk with Him first, you will love others better, not because you need them to make you whole, but because you are already whole in Him. Let others be human, let God be God, and then, and only then, will you begin to experience the kind of love that brings peace instead of anxiety, joy instead of fear, and freedom instead of bondage. There is a deep and often unspoken fear that haunts many hearts, the fear of being alone. We fill our lives with noise, with movement, with distractions, not because we are truly living, but because we are running from something we don't want to face, ourselves. Solitude has become, for many, a symbol of failure, of rejection, of being unwanted. But this is a dangerous misunderstanding. Solitude is not the absence of love. It is the soil in which real love is planted. To fear being alone is to mistrust the very soul God has given you. It is to believe that unless someone else fills your silence, you are somehow less. But hear me clearly. If you cannot be at peace with yourself, you will never be at peace with another. If the quiet of your own soul makes you uncomfortable, you will only use others as a distraction, not love them as a person. That is not love. It is dependency. There is something holy about solitude. Christ Himself sought it often, in the desert, in the mountains, in the garden. He withdrew not because He was lonely, but because He was aligning Himself with the Father. Solitude is not isolation. It is not despair. It is the place where you learn who you are when no one is watching. It is where your masks fall away, where your fears rise to the surface, and where God meets you in the rawness of your humanity. So many run from solitude into relationships they are not ready for. They fear silence, so they fill it with chatter. They fear stillness, so they chase stimulation. They fear themselves, so they seek anyone, to validate their existence. But when we enter a relationship from that place of fear, we bring with us a hunger that no human love can satisfy. We end up demanding from the other what we are unwilling to cultivate in ourselves: peace, identity, contentment. Do not fear solitude. It is your training ground. It is the space where God teaches you how to love without needing to possess, how to give without fear of loss, how to stand without leaning. It is in solitude that your soul is refined, your wounds are brought into the light, and your purpose is clarified. And when you are no longer afraid to be alone, you will find that you are ready to walk with someone, not out of desperation, but from strength. The irony is this: the more comfortable you become in your solitude, the more magnetic you become. People are drawn to those who do not grasp, who do not cling, who are full without being full of themselves. The person who has made peace with their solitude brings peace into a relationship. They do not come to take, they come to share. If you want to find love, do not rush to fill the silence. Learn to listen in it. Learn to pray in it. Learn to breathe in it. Let it shape you, stretch you, and sanctify you. Because when your heart is no longer afraid to be alone, it is finally ready to be united. Solitude is not your enemy. It is your invitation. Accept it, embrace it, and trust that God never leaves a soul in solitude without preparing it for something sacred. So many of us approach love with a blueprint in hand, plans neatly drawn, expectations clearly outlined, and timelines firmly set. We tell God, often without words, "Here is how I want my love story to go. Here is who I want, when I want them, and how I expect it to unfold." And when life does not follow our script, we assume God has forgotten us. But in truth, it is not that God has failed to move. It is that we have refused to follow. The human heart is often stubborn, even when it is sincere. We cry out for love, but we reject the very path that leads to it. We turn away from people who don't fit our imagined ideal. We resist seasons of waiting that are meant to shape us. and we ignore the gentle promptings that call us to change, to grow, to surrender. And in our refusal to let go of our own plan, we close ourselves off to the love God is preparing for us. Understand this clearly. God's plan is not meant to punish you. It is not designed to deprive you. His plan is rooted in wisdom deeper than yours, and love purer than anything this world can offer. He sees the whole picture. He knows which relationships will nourish your soul and which ones will slowly poison it. He knows the difference between what you want and what you need, and He will never trade your eternal good for your temporary comfort. But we resist. We chase what sparkles instead of what sanctifies. We choose the loud over the lasting. We confuse chemistry for character. And when those choices lead to heartbreak, we wonder why God let it happen. But often, it was not God's voice we followed. It was our own. There is a quiet pain in rejecting God's plan. The relationships we force, the compromises we make, the moments of clarity we ignore. And yet, in His mercy, God continues to call us back. He speaks in closed doors, in unease that lingers even in happy moments, in the peace that follows surrender. He is not interested in taking love from you. He is interested in preparing you for a love that reflects His own, pure, faithful, enduring. You must come to a place where you say, with trembling trust, Lord, even if it's not what I imagine, even if it doesn't happen when I hoped, I trust you. I trust that you know what you are doing with my life, and I surrender my plan for yours. That kind of surrender is not weak. It is the strongest act of love you can give to God, and the greatest gift you can offer to your future spouse. Because only when you stop fighting His will can you start walking in it. Only when your heart yields can it truly receive. The person God has for you may not come in the timing you prefer or the package you expect. But if you are willing to wait, to trust, to grow, what He gives will exceed anything you thought to ask for. Do not mistake delay for denial. Do not confuse His silence with indifference. God is not ignoring you. He is preparing you, and the love He offers is not just meant to satisfy your feelings. It is meant to sanctify your soul. So stop rejecting His plan. Lay down your conditions. Let go of your timeline and open your heart, not just to love, but to the one who is love Himself. Because when you finally say yes to God's plan, you don't just find love, you find peace. And so, my beloved, if you wish to find love, stop. Stop running from the truth. Stop seeking in others what only God can give. Stop building houses on sand and return to the rock. Because when you stop doing what harms your heart, you start becoming what love can find. For love is not merely discovered, it is prepared for, and when the soul is ready, love arrives, not as a conquest but as a calling. Thank you, and remember, the heart that rests in God never searches in vain.